Number 1, are you more productive in the AM or the PM?
AM.
Number 2, favorite day of the week?
Monday.
Number 3, the season of the year you feel most alive?
Summer.
Number 4, a recent struggle?
Breakup.
Number 5, a recent win?
Um, Breakthrough in business.
Number 6, do you think quotes can change your life?
Yes.
Number 7, favorite form of exercise?
Weight training.
Number 8, the trait you like most about yourself?
I'm compassionate.
Number 9, is happiness a choice?
Yes.
Number 10, is everyone able to meet their dream life?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome back to the Future Self podcast. Welcome to another episode, the first episode of 2026, the first episode with a guest in months. As I've mentioned on my socials a little bit, I've been a little bit skeptical on the conversations I've been having with people here in Bali, but there was a really nice vibe about this woman when I was shared her socials and just the way she goes about living and what she does. So today's guest is Sian. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
First question to start it off.
Right.
What is self-respect to you?
I think it is the ability to see beyond the noise of the world around us and trust in your intentions and your grounding practices, who you are as a person, behind what everyone else might see as of who you are. It's more so your relationship with yourself and what you do, your intentions, your ability to show up in your day-to-day, as opposed to doing things with the intention of being perceived a certain way. It's a lot deeper than that, and I think that's where true self-respect comes from. It's showing up in a way that makes you proud, not the way it makes your friends want, like how your friends want you to be, how your family want you to be. It really comes from within.
Have you always thought that way?
No.
So what was that change?
I think I went through a big period of my life where I was showing up in a way that I thought people wanted me to be, whether it be friends, family, boys growing up, whatever it was. It was always, okay, maybe if I did this, they'll like me. Maybe if I'll do that, they'll appreciate me or see me. I'll feel seen and heard. And the more I did that, the further away I felt from myself and who I truly was. And the second I noticed that and I made the shift and I went within, that allowed me to realize that I was never going to reach my full potential. I was never going to be who I truly am. I was never going to have that feeling of self-respect until I was able to define my own definition of these things like success, happiness, self-respect, even your physical appearance, like what's important to you. How do I want to feel in my body? It comes from within. It doesn't come from anyone else but yourself.
So what was the moment then that called for you to pivot into that style of thinking or that way of living?
I started to notice myself being a bit of a creature of habit, going out consistently on weekends, hanging around with people that didn't necessarily make me feel good in who I was as a person, yet I was still craving their approval, seeking their attention. And I did this in workplaces as well. I was being mistreated. I was being mistreated in my friendships, my relationships. And it took a whole heap of like, well, okay, something's got to change for me to actually make that commitment. And it's a lot harder than it, easier said than done. But I did decide to go and take myself on a wellness retreat. And this is where I became a lot more self-aware around what I actually wanted and who I was as a person, what my values were. I think sitting down with yourself and defining what your values are is something that a lot of people don't ever take the time to do. And I think we have like our perceived values or what we say we want, like, yeah, I want trust, honesty, health, but how you live your life and the results that are showing up in your life tell you what your where your values really lie. And in my life, my health was out of whack, even though I'd say I'd value health. I'd never spend enough time with my family, even though I say family is number one, all these sorts of things. And it was like, okay, reality check. I need to start changing my actions and aligning myself with what my values are.
Why was there such a dissonance between what you were saying and what you were doing, because the biggest thing I see is the consensus of people live a certain type of way that they know deep down inside isn't the right thing or the best way they could be, but they keep doing it. And I always give this analogy that if you were to give people truth serum, they would tell you the utter truth that, yeah, I know drinking's not good for me. I know that these friendships are really bad. I know I hate this job. I know I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I feel. But everyone is so fucking good at convincing themselves to the point that they almost believe it. So for you, saying X, Y, and Z were your top values, but you weren't living that way, why was there such a disconnect between words spoken and actions taken?
I think because, like, as a society, we're so quick to want to fix our symptoms instead of looking at the root cause. So I could say I value my health or like friendships and stuff, and that would mean going out and drinking, okay, because I'd fit in with them, and that was like a quick fix. It's the same with your health and, I don't know, joining an 8-week challenge or something like that to fix how you look instead of looking at the root cause. Like, our brain is always going to go to the path of least resistance with these sorts of things. So I think all of those things on a surface level were in alignment, and I was getting this quick hit of dopamine. Like, okay, cool, I've got these friends, then they like me and we're hanging out, and, you know, I still go for walks or whatever it is, but it wasn't true to who I was. And I was too afraid to get to the root cause as to why I wasn't being consistent and aligning myself, because that does require a lot of work. It's scary. It's usually in relation to traumas that have happened to in your past. And when I say traumas, I don't necessarily mean like a car crash, someone's passed away, big things like this. It can be as little as a few things your grandma said to you when you were little and that made you feel like you need to be shy, or you were mistreated as a kid, as a child, or some boys in the playground said things to you that made you feel like I'm not good enough. And anytime you get like a resonance of that in your life, you switch into this scared state and you'll cling on to anything that makes you feel better in that moment. So I think I was very much so living in this dysregulated nervous system state where I was like jumping out of, oh, I feel good, I feel bad, and quickly running to anything that would give me that feeling of confidence instead of getting to the root cause, because it was easier.
I always find it so interesting when a person goes from A to B. So you're expressing like an A lifestyle, just for an analogy's sake, and you've moved into B. So a lot of dysregulation, dissonance, a lot of lying and living on the surface to a completely different opposing experience now.
Yeah.
What allows you to go from A to B? Like, I'm always so interested about how the fuck someone goes from living that way for a while into allowing themselves to move into B, because I know it's not an overnight change, but how did you just almost shoulder shake yourself and wake up to the fact of this needs to change?
Yeah, I actually get asked this question a lot because I think a lot of women do come to me and they're like, I want to do that. I see you've done that and I want to do it. And it's one thing to want it. And I think self-awareness is always the first step. So being able to understand that you are in misalignment, you're not happy with the way you're acting, but actually putting these things into practice is a whole other thing. And it's really about learning the modalities of what that looks like for you. And it's different for everyone. So I think my path is, I don't have a straight answer for you. I didn't wake up one day and go, oh, I'm going to change this. But I did start noticing and started implementing different strategies that worked for me, that helped me figure out who I was as a person and who I wanted to become. I would start visualizing. I think visualization is an amazing tool about who do I want to be in my future and what does she look like? How does she act? And what would she be doing in that moment? And I feel like we hear this a lot, but it really is a powerful thing to do. So that was one practice I started implementing, as well as journaling. Journaling has been a huge part of my life since I was probably about 15, I think I started. And at that time, I got a crush on this boy or whatever. It didn't mean anything to me. But as I've grown up, I still have my first journals and I'm able to reflect and look at what I cared about at that time, how I spoke to myself as a 15-year-old kid. The way I would talk to myself is just like, it breaks my heart. And so being able to see that evolve and change and notice patterns within myself and pick up on things with myself is just such an incredible tool. And I think that was a huge pivotal point for me. So I think to your question, adding up a lot of these little baby habits is really what makes a big transformation. It doesn't happen overnight. I am very cautious on my social media that it appears that way. Like, I've just always been like this. And I get so many people reach out to me being like, oh, you're just so good at content. You're so confident. If you knew me as a kid, I couldn't go to school without like clinging onto my mum crying. I couldn't collect my award up at the assembly because I had too much anxiety. No way. All of my friends bullied me in primary school. I didn't have a voice. So when I get these compliments, it warms my heart, and they're like, you're just so lucky to be out. And it's like, it takes a lot of work. And I think putting myself in this position, I've also built up so much respect for anyone like yourself who is doing something like this, which is a little bit out of the norm, a little bit different, because I know that no one is magically born like this. Yes, you can have strengths, but there's always hardships and work that goes behind the scenes that no one gets to see and often isn't spoken about. So I guess that's something, and the reason I want to do more long form content like this, to really reveal that it takes time.
Yeah, so I, for many years, have been advocating real change needs real change.
Yeah.
And often that ties in with having to go back to scenarios or situations in your past that give an explanation as to why you are the way you are now and how you do the things you do now. Often the people I work with that change the most are the ones willing to go back a little bit. The ones that don't really change that much, they change what they do now, but they're not changing who they are. And to change who you are pulls you back. You have to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
Where did the anxiety as a kid come from? And why have you worked on it as an adult? Because most individuals, male and female, attach onto that. They're an anxious kid, an anxious teen, an anxious adult, an anxious grandparent. They stay that their whole life. So where did the anxiety from a kid come from, and why has it changed now?
Weird story, but when I first moved to Bali, I actually went to a women's circle, and one of the questions that they asked, it was all about like returning back to your inner child. And one of the questions that was asked was to return back to this place of when you were happiest as a kid. And I feel like this is a common practice when we do these sorts of things. And this was a big realization for me, because I sat there and I couldn't think of when I was really, truly happy as a kid. Like I couldn't think of my most fond memory. And I burst into tears because I was like, what is wrong with me? Like, I had beautiful parents. I have a beautiful family. I had a good upbringing. You know, it wasn't perfect. There was struggle, all that sort of stuff everyone goes through, but there was no real like heartache for me. So I was like, why was I never truly like happy as a kid? And I was always very self-conscious from a very young age. And I think it's like, as I'm continuing to do this work, I think it stemmed from this feeling of not feeling seen and heard as a child. And I almost hate saying that, because I know my parents are the most beautiful people in the world and they're the most supportive, loving humans I've ever met in my life. But that was just my truth as a kid. And as I've learnt to accept that, I've realized that's not who I am anymore. And I don't have to hold on to that. I don't have to attach my entire future to that. So every person I meet, just because maybe they ignored me a little bit, doesn't mean, you know, they're busy, they've got their own lives. I don't have to take it personally. So I think, again, as I said previously, this self-awareness and the ability to really rewind and look into your past, and like little memories will come to your mind, like specific moments. Even in relation to grandparents, I can think with my siblings, like comments that were made. I've been able to track back to those moments and realize, oh, okay. And as I said, anytime a resonance of that comes up, anytime someone kind of treats me in that similar tone, my whole body shifts into this like fight or flight mode where I feel clenched and anxious. And now that I have this awareness and I have these grounding practices, like the breath work I do, the meditation I do, the writing I do, I'm able to actually regulate myself again. Whereas so many people don't learn these practices and they just stay stuck in this fight, flight, freeze for their entire lives and wonder why they're like that. Instead of, like you say, changing who you are as a person, doing that deeper work. But again, it comes with a lot of time. It's very confronting, and it's a lot easier to just go out for the drinks or pop a pill or, you know, whatever it is, like Netflix, food, cookies. It's so easy to just jump into that instead of going, I'm going to sit with this and look at my trauma.
If a client comes to you
Yeah.
and says, that's just who I am,
Yeah.
how do you navigate that? In the sense of, I work with, let's just say, someone that might defend the accountability that I hold them to, and their response will be, well, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
And my thought is, no, like that's who you're choosing to be, because who you have been once is not who you have to continue to be. How do you handhold or guide someone saying that's just who I am?
I think it requires a pretty big perspective shift, especially if you're working with someone that's quite stuck in their ways. But I think like as human beings, no matter what you believe in, we can all kind of come to the conclusion that we've been created by something or someone, and that's put us on this earth. And we then have the ability to co-create, and that co-creation comes with choice. And that means we have the ability to choose. So you cannot deny the fact that you have the ability to choose. You have the ability to change. So really working through someone with that can take time, I believe, but it is a perspective shift. And I think it is coming to the conclusion, sharing your journey, being vulnerable with that, to also show people that it does come with action, with choice, and no one is magically like this. So I think a lot of people, especially now with social media, we see people and we immediately go, oh, I wish I was like that. I wish I could do that. I used to do it all the time. And I've now become that of what I once wish I was. So I think being more, you know, if you are someone who has done the work, so you, for example, me, for example, so many people out there, being real and vulnerable and open about the fact that you weren't always like that really helps people open their eyes to a bigger picture.
Self-love and self-respect, I don't think go hand in hand all the time. You can speak for you or for your client base. How do you balance self-love, as in self-care, listen to your body, take a day off, go to the beach, be calm, be relaxed, that perspective, with that just being a cop-out for the avoidance of something hard needing to be done, something that they don't want to do, needing to be achieved? How do you balance self-love and self-respect?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. I like that because I think I've been quite hardcore when it comes to my training, nutrition and everything. And for probably about 2 years, I was like very hardcore. Like if you didn't know me, you'd think I was training for a bodybuilding comp or something, because I was just really strict and disciplined. And I thought that's what was required and what it took to get where I wanted to go. And I ended up kind of hating on myself for doing that, because I lost this self-love side. And I think as women in particular, it's quite important to have that feminine side to yourself. I felt like it was almost quite masculine of me to be so consistent and disciplined. And that journey was, I can now look back and I'm grateful for that side of me, because it did put me in a position where I built the body of my dreams and I was really consistent and happy and I learnt a lot. But I was in so much stress and I was holding so much anxiety, and it felt like, oh my God, to sustain this physique or whatever, I need to do this for the rest of my life. And I found that really overwhelming. So I think that's where the balance of self-love comes in, and being able to kind of like discern the difference of, okay, looking after myself, and waking up is hard at 5:30, getting to the gym 5 days a week is hard, lifting heavier than you did the previous week, I've got my period, you can still train, whatever it is. But also being able to honor the exhaustion and knowing when you've pushed too far, when it's no longer aligning with your values and you're feeling yourself in that fight, flight, freeze, and being able to recognize that and give yourself grace. I know a lot of people struggle with rest days and being like, okay, my body is asking for rest. Being able to be kind to yourself and give yourself that grace is really important. But then the next day, still knowing that you have these goals and intentions and plans, you can't say, I want this body or I want this, and then not do the actions as well. So it's a balance of consistency wins, and you know that, but also not being hard on yourself when your body is speaking to you, because when you are in that place of exhaustion, or you can't show up at work properly, or you no longer have the energy to see friends or people or spend time with family, that is your body communicating with you that there is a deeper issue and you need to listen to that.
I'm going to challenge you.
Okay.
I always notice that male and female coaches, it's more in the female aspect, they did certain things to get to the position they're in. So for instance, I've seen coaches that will now coach about being softer on yourself and being more kind.
Yeah.
And women go to that coach because she looks amazing, she looks insane, she has money, she has all these things. But what she did to get there was not what is being taught now.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on that?
I love this question. I battle with myself on this because I guess I am that person where I did spend 2 years punishing myself, being really strict with calorie counting and like discipline with the gym and all that sort of stuff. But I don't shy away from that with my clients. I'm very honest with them when they join and work with me that like, this is what it takes to get there. What is your goal? Okay. That's my life. That's what I did. I'm super happy. I now am able to do this because that's my priorities. That's where I'm at. So it's not about me. Before anyone works with me, I have a conversation with them and I make it about them. What is your goal? If their specific goal is to get to this crazy physique and XYZ, then it's like, okay, well, we need to lock in. So I agree, and it's very misleading, and that's why I get triggered by some things I see on social media around like these challenges that are going to get you this result in this amount of weeks, because it's just not true. It's not true. And I get a lot of people wanting to work with me because I want to look like you. You're never going to look like me. No one is going to look like anyone. But what do you want to achieve? How do you want to feel in your body? How do you want to, like, at the end of this experience, like, what are you hoping to get out of this? Is it a physical transformation, or is it a feeling, or is it a lifestyle? Flipping the question and making it about them, because you're never going to look how the fitness influencer looks.
Yeah, you're right. I like that. What changes a life the most?
I truly believe it is the self-awareness and the internal work that changes your life the most, because if you don't do that, these fitness plans, these meal plans, these habits aren't sustainable. You have to become the person who does these things. So it's like you get a coach for 12 weeks or whatever, and then if you're not changing your mind and your lifestyle habits with that, as soon as that coaching's over, you're just going to fall back into your old habits. So I get really triggered as well when it's like, let's, do this transformation. It's actually really misleading, and it breaks my heart because a lot of people go backwards even further after the coaching's done because they've messed up their metabolism now that they've been eating so little to look a certain way. So when I work with my clients, it's very much so about how do you want to feel and what lifestyle habits are you currently condoning and what needs to change there in order for this to be a long-lasting experience. You finish working with me and now you've got a new way of living. You're off, you're happy. You've got this balance that you've embodied because you've got good habits in place.
Yeah, that ties in with it's not changing what you do, it's changing who you are. What things do you do in a day or over a week that just let me rephrase this actually. Out of 10, how much would you say you're thriving?
10. Okay,
so 10 out of 10. What in your life do you do over a day or a week that's supporting that thrive?
Time to myself. I think that is so important. I used to kind of avoid time to myself because it can be lonely, it can be things come up, or you just want to distract yourself from like what's really going on. I recently had an injury that like forced me to like sit alone by myself, and it brought up a lot for me. And I was like, wow, I've still been running. Even though I thought I was doing the self-care, I wasn't, because there was things that I was keeping. I was like, let's go out for dinner. Let's go back to the gym. Let's go do yoga. That's self-care. But I was still distracting myself from this like internal stuff that I was working through. So more recently, I have been no longer shying away from that. Like if you need to cry, if you need to let something out, if something's really hurting you, please honor that. Please just tap into it, ask it what it needs. Don't hate on it. I think these parts of ourselves that we often hate on, at the end of the day, they're just trying to protect us from feeling a certain way. So ask it what it needs. I noticed like points of jealousy coming up in me, and I was like, what? Like, that's horrible. I'm not a jealous person. That's not who I am at my core. Why am I being like that? Instead of shutting it down, just getting curious with that jealousy. Like, why is it there? What does it really mean for me? What have I not dealt with deep down that's making me react in a jealous way? So writing with that, I do a check-in with myself, getting curious, being compassionate with it instead of being like, fuck you, jealousy, like, go away. It's like, it's okay. You're allowed to be jealous. What's going on? It's an insecurity that I have, obviously. Let's work through it. So I do that through meditation and writing. And another thing that I've been really focusing on is my breath, because it's just number one. Like, I think so many people ignore it. I think it's the one thing in our life that comes with us our entire journey. And we say we don't have time to do it, whatever. But when you're driving along, big, deep breath in, big, deep breath out. And I do this a lot with my clients. We do a little meditation practice before coaching calls, because a lot of the time I have to walk them through how to breathe. And it's like, if you need to go to a yoga class or a meditation practice to be walked through how to breathe, chances are you're not breathing properly enough throughout the day, or even noticing where your breath is at. So really taking the time, even if it is when you're on the go, just habit stacking. Like when I drive, that's when I do my breath work. Everyone drives every single day. There's no excuse. Boom. That implementing that into your life, if you started that today, every time you go for a drive, your life will begin to change.
So breath, journal, time alone. Anything else?
I think always looking after yourself with real food. That's I think nutrition is the highest form of self-respect. It's everything. If you're happy to feed yourself with like all these chemicals you can't even pronounce, you don't even know what's inside of it, you're just pushing through the day, you're going to go through all these energy crashes. It's going to throw you through the wall. It's going to mess with your nervous system as well. It's going to impact the way you show up in your training, in your relationships, in your like waking up early, everything. So I think fueling your body with the right foods it says a lot about a person.
What do you see being the most common struggle amongst women? The ones you work with would be the ones you know the closest, but maybe friends, family, people online, and your clients. Like, what's the most consistent and common struggles you see amongst women that are stopping them from thriving?
I truly believe it's like limiting beliefs within themselves, thinking like that could never be me, or I can't be that. I was born here, or I look like that, or I don't have that color hair, or whatever it is. It's all excuses at the end of the day. And I say that from the bottom of my heart because I used to be the same. I was never someone who thrived in school per se. Like, yes, I had friends and people liked me and whatever, but I didn't feel confident. I felt like I was always like trying to be the funny one, or trying to look a certain way, or drinking to get attention, or all these sorts of things, because, I don't look like that, or I don't have the big fancy house, or I can't afford the clothes, so therefore I can't. These are all excuses. They're all limiting beliefs from within. And again, it comes back down to changing who you are as a person. I truly believe that is the most like magnetic thing in life. When you meet someone and they're pure and they're genuine and they have a glow about them, they care about what they're doing, they look after themselves, they have a genuine interest in you. I think curiosity is such a huge thing. Like, in conversation with someone, you can tell when someone's like just waiting to reply, or they've tapped out. That is the most powerful thing. So I think anyone is capable of that. And as soon as you start embodying that and becoming that kind of person, the rest just kind of starts flowing your way, which sounds a bit woo-woo, but it's true.
Woo-woo to who, though?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, if it's impacting your life and it's working for you, it's only woo-woo to the person that's not doing it and not thriving because of it. What's the single most impactful thing you've done for yourself?
Ooh.
In the sense of your transformation from the A to B type of living, like what's the thing that's just changed it all for you?
I think the biggest thing is I stopped placing my self-worth in the hands of others and I put it back into myself. I, of course, everyone, I'm a human being. Of course, I care what other people think of me.
Mm-hmm.
But that held so much weight over me for the first 20 years of my life. When I made the switch of being like, okay, let's stop worrying about what other people think of me and how I'm perceived by other people and start worrying about how I think of me and how the actions who would I want to hang out with? Who do I admire? I want to be someone I admire. I want to show off as that person. And I think that was that was 100% the thing that changed everything for me.
Do you think your younger version's dream individual? Yeah. So the
Yeah.
person she needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of what I show up as today.
Yeah.
Just the man that my younger self needed
Yeah.
pushes a lot of what I do today and how I show up as. How old are you?
I'm 25 next month. So
Yeah.
24 at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's what it's just wild to know what you know at your age.
Yeah.
And people go through their whole life without knowing that.
Yeah.
Their whole fucking life.
Yeah.
I I always have people in my life, such as my mum and my sisters and old individuals, that will say, "You're gifted," or
Yeah.
other people don't find it as easy because I'm very interested in asking questions.
Yeah.
The truth with my own self matters so much, like speaking my own truth and being real with my own self.
Mm-hmm.
But I was talking to my partner about this. I think what I do is just a base normal in the sense of I show up for myself, I give myself self-respect. I do hard things. Like some of the things I do are not base normal. I can understand that.
Yeah.
But I think the way I show up is just quite a base normal.
Yeah.
And when my mum or older individuals say you're gifted, it's somewhat frustrating.
Yeah.
Because I see that as their way out. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you're gifted, so that's why you can do these things, or that's why you show up that way, but we can't because we're not gifted.
Yeah.
So you're 24,
Yeah.
and you know what you know. What's it feel like to know those things now and see, yeah, whether it's your parents or grandparents or people you care about that are older than you, not knowing anything near what you know? Like, what's your relationship like with that?
I think on this journey, it has just been about, again, not comparing my journey to anyone else's. So I don't often think about that. So it's kind of a different question, I guess.
Yeah.
But how I feel about it is just so excited for life and for opportunity and just complete trust in myself and the universe. And I think as soon as you have a relationship with yourself that is trusting and honest and open and real and genuine, then you can absolutely achieve anything you set your mind to. I wouldn't say that to anyone. You often hear you can do anything you set your mind to. I think it does take a particular type of person because you need to be someone that you can rely on. And I 100% rely on myself. If something was to happen, I know I've got grounding practices in place to get through it. No matter what it looks like, if it's a physical thing, if it's an emotional thing, I know I'm going to be okay. So I'm not scared to try new things. I'm not scared to step out of my comfort zone. And I also, a part of me just wishes people were more open to this sort of thing because that's how you live a truly fulfilling life. Mm-hmm. And I think my parents, for example, are amazing examples of this, and I think they've done it later in life, which is still beautiful. Mm-hmm. I see them today and I learn from them every single day, and they learn from me as well, which is also really beautiful. But I think, just giving yourself the grace if you haven't done it yet, and the time, the opportunity, and the space to do so. But if this is something that you want out of life, if you want to live a truly fulfilling life, if you see people like you or I crushing their dreams and you want that for yourself, don't make excuses as to why it hasn't happened. Don't tell them they're gifted. Don't tell them they're lucky because they've done the work that you haven't. Mm. So focus on that. Bring it back to you. Like, what can I be doing? And yes, luck's involved, whatever, but I never disregard anyone's hard work.
You have a very intense self-security because you said, I know I'll be fine. Where's that come from? Because I say the same thing, but mine comes from a place of struggle and having to overcome that as a younger kid, that I know I'm fine regardless of what happens as an adult. So where's yours come from?
Um, I would say that I'm just proving it to myself as I go along. Whether it's big struggles, little struggles, big traumas, little traumas, you never know how they're going to impact you. Sometimes the tiny little ones are the ones that like really spin you out. So as I go through these things in life and different things, curveballs get thrown at me, I keep proving to myself that I can get back up on 2 feet. It's totally fine if I have a moment, I spin out, I act in a way I'm not proud of. I think that's a part of it too, is expecting that I probably will do that. And there's going to be times where I'm like, whoa, why did I do that? Well, that was a mistake. But knowing that I can forgive myself for those mistakes as well is such a beautiful thing, because I think so many people spend so long being like, oh, I messed up, and like, I suck, I can never be that person now. You need to learn to forgive yourself as well for those times. And I think that's where it comes from, is knowing that, you know, I am going to mess up. Something's going to happen to me today, tomorrow, next week, next year that's really going to be hard. But I'm willing to face it, because I almost get excited now. I'm like, okay, this is hard. Like, what am I learning from this? I'm going to grow from it. So kind of not throwing in the towel when things get messy, and like acknowledging that that's actually a really great opportunity to learn and grow.
I call it, yeah, you're stacking your resume.
Yeah.
So it's enough evidence to prove that you are who you say you are.
Exactly.
Or that you can overcome what is coming. You're just a problem solver that's stacked to their resume. I'm such a big advocate with all my clients of just doing hard things.
Yeah.
Humans in general, a lot of their problems stem from avoidance of hard things. Being consistent is a hard thing. Waking up early is a hard thing. Going to the gym is a hard thing. There's just so much avoidance of hard things. The hard that we choose always seems harder than the hard we're given. So an example of that is choosing to stop smoking is really hard.
Yeah.
It seemed impossible, so people just settle for the idea of being given the hard of a health problem. Because when you're given something, it doesn't seem as hard, but it's a lot harder to have lung cancer than it would be to give up smoking.
Yeah.
I think hard things are the solution to so many individuals' problems.
Yeah.
But leaning into hard things is a hard thing itself. So it's so paradoxing, because you need to do hard things, but the reason you don't do them is because they're hard.
Yeah.
You mentioned you had an injury.
Yeah.
And then that made you sit with yourself.
Yeah.
And allowed you to realize that maybe there was some avoidance or running away from things. What's it feel like when you're so far into showing up for yourself and your personal development journey that you're slapped with just a reminder that there's levels to it?
Yeah.
Or that, fuck, maybe I'm not where I thought I was, and it just pulls you back a little bit. Like, what's that like?
I think this like plays into the hard. I think when you decide to be this person who is going to show up and be resilient and do the internal work, the reality is it doesn't end. Like, you're never going to get to a place where you're incomplete. Like, I am the person I want to be. It's just continuous. Like I said, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up. Things are going to happen. You're going to reflect and wish you did things differently. So that was actually a big thing for me in that reflection, those few days where I was sitting with myself. It was, shit, like, this is a long journey. I've only just started. And this feeling, this growth, this like, oh my God, it's forever. And I've accepted that, and I actually love that. So I think that's a choice people have to make as well, is, you know, if you do choose to become this person, it doesn't just happen overnight, and you're not all of a sudden happy and grounded and successful in all areas of your life every day. You're continuously going to be thrown challenges, and you're continuously going to have to sit with yourself and feel like you haven't done any work. It's like you're starting from square one all over again. But in that, you do come back stronger. So you got to see the good in it too, I suppose.
Learning to enjoy the hard and the process is the biggest successor of all.
Yeah.
But the amount of times I've programmed long term for clients, and they're like, fuck, the next thing?
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean there's more?
Yeah.
It's like, fortunately as well, that is how it works.
Yeah.
Like, learning to enjoy discomfort and hard things and the consistent pursuit of work is what will guarantee someone's success. Because again, in a world of leaning into easy. We just want a checklist. 12 hard things and you're exactly who you want to be. But it just doesn't fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Do you have a quote or a thought that's been very pivotal or impactful for you?
I actually really resonated with what you said before about being the person you say you are. I think aligning, kind of going back to what we were talking about with our values at the start, I think just alignment, the word alignment is really important to me, because I think there are so many people out there that say they are these things, but then they act differently. And being able to pick up on it in yourself as well, because you've done it, I've done it, we've all done it. And making that, picking up on it and making that shift, I think that's just been the most pivotal thing for me, because again, like, you are the only person you have in this world, in terms of like, you can trust yourself, you can be that person. You can't ever change how someone else acts and shows up, but you can do it within. So being that person who picks themselves up or notices when they're not acting in alignment with who they want to be, aligning yourself with your actions. Words are just words. You got to show up and be that person. I think really embodying that has been very pivotal for me.
Do you have a question that, let's say you're allowed to say one sentence to me, like a question, to change my fucking life? One question or one sentence. And it's putting you on the spot.
That is putting me on the spot.
Yeah, so you can think about it for a little bit.
Yeah.
But what would that be?
I read a book a very long time ago it was written by someone who was working in palliative care, I believe it is.
Yes.
And they are working with people who are essentially on their deathbed. And one of the questions that they ask these people is like, what was your biggest regret, or like wish you had done? And I think it was like some ridiculous stat, don't quote me, it was like 75% of them was like, I wish I had acted in a way that was true to me.
Yeah.
So I guess instead of waiting until you're on your deathbed to ask yourself that question, I would be asking myself that every single day.
Yes.
Am I acting in a way that is true to me, that makes me happy, that aligns with my definition of success, not my, I don't know, if you have a lawyer dad who thinks you should be a lawyer or whatever it is, your definition of success might be living on the beach, camping every day, and that's okay. Like, just really aligning yourself with who you want to be, how you want to show up in this world, and asking yourself that question every day as opposed to your last day.
Yeah. Great. I
was not expecting myself to smash that.
It was fucking good. Mine would be, and I would
Yes.
like you to answer this question.
Okay.
And I've asked this to my clients all the time and to my friends and family. If you had 6 months left to live, what would you change?
Wow. Interesting. I think I'm really on a mission this year, as the year started, was to enjoy more. I think like the feeling of joy is something we really take for granted. I think we are really privileged, the life that we have, the travel we get to do, the work we get to do. The feeling of joy is something that so many individuals never ever experience in their lives, whether it's riding on my bike or smiling at someone, like the simple daily moments where you get to experience joy. I really want to learn to embody that more, because I do get really caught up in my work in like, what's next, like on this mission of growth, internal work, like it's serious and all that sort of stuff. I just want to really spend time being grateful to have that honor, to experience joy and to laugh and to be happy and to have fun. I think last year in particular, it was a big like grind year for me. And although I'm very grateful for it and I love it and it's gotten me to where I am today, I really would want to spend my final 6 months having fun and enjoying life just as much as I am doing the deep work and all that sort of stuff as well.
So, yeah, okay, great leeway into when is it too much self-development? Because it's never ending. There's always the next thing.
Yeah.
There's always a depth you can go deeper, or there's a level you can go higher. When do you catch yourself realizing it's too much?
I think that's quite a personal question. Like, some people can endure more and more intensely over shorter periods of time, or some people need it to be stretched out. For me personally, like I call myself out when I reach that point of like, I haven't seen anyone in a long time. I'm not talking. I'm being a bit of a shell of a human because I'm so prioritizing my growth and everything. Because I notice the second I get out and I meet new people and I have these incredible conversations, it's like, oh my God, I feel so creative. I feel like I've learned so much more than what I could have done in like that solo time. So I think noticing when you are like disconnecting from the universe and making sure you have that balance in place, because I think a lot of the growth does come from learning, experience, travel, conversation. Some of my biggest lessons in life have probably been from those moments as opposed to sitting down writing with my journal.
Yeah. You said universe and laughed or giggled.
Yeah.
Why?
When did I say universe?
Just before.
Getting out into the universe.
Yeah. And then you giggled after it.
I think because that's why I've done what I've done. I've created this life for myself of, you know, being able to work from anywhere, building a business, doing the internal work, because I was so shy growing up. I never thought I'd be able to be that woman who got to travel on her own and earn for herself and do all these sorts of things. I giggle because it's like I did that and then I went back into my shell. And it's like, what? I have to bring myself back to my why. Like I want to explore the world, the universe, and be woo-woo and spiritual and get into the depths. And sometimes I close myself up from it because I'm still catching myself out, caring what people think or thinking I should be doing more. I'm still on the journey. So I think I probably giggle because it's like, so obvious, Sian, like just enjoy. And like, this is why you're doing what you're doing. So don't forget to do it.
I always notice with women, there occasionally is just a fucking breakout woman that does what so many women know they could do.
Yeah.
They become a leader. They become almost like a beacon of light. They become a teacher, a guide. I think it's more rare with women than men. There's a lot more men that leaders, macho, you know, there's a real bleed between like, there's a bleed between men kind of being leaders, kind of not. But I noticed with women, there's just a real definite difference. There's like a leader woman that's broken out, that's embodying, that's living the life she dreams. And then there's so many that are just held back and they're looking to that woman for so much guidance and so much hand holding and helping, but they're not doing that themselves. And it just, I just find it really interesting. There's not even really a question in this. It's just more a comment. I find it really interesting when you see a breakout woman, they're just embodying and doing what so many of these fucking other women know they could do or are able to do. But like you said before, the limiting belief factor stops them from doing it. What limiting beliefs do you have shown up in your weeks at the moment for your own self?
I still catch myself out thinking like, can I sustain this? Is this possible? Like, am I that person to be a leader, to be one of those women that potentially guides other women and gives them that hope and that ability to do so? Because I get that question a lot from women, just like reaching out in general, being like, how have you done it? Like, how are you doing this? Like, you're living how I want to live. I love what you say and what you stand for. And it's like so beautiful because I'm like, okay, cool. So you're obviously similar. So you have the ability, you know, you agree with what I'm saying. Therefore, you can also speak about these things and use your social media to do so if that's what you want to do. But again, it's also like, I can't give you like this magical formula. I've done a lot of work. It wasn't easy. So I think that's a limiting belief that I have too, is just like, how can I sustain this and also help people and continue to focus on myself? There's probably a question for you, like with your coaching and what you guide people through, do you struggle, I guess, balancing your own growth and then also carrying the weight of other people's, or do you carry the weight, or is that something you've detached from?
Like two parts to that. The first part, I used to take a lot of ownership over my clients' wins.
Yeah.
Which meant I took a lot of ownership over their fails and losses.
Yeah.
So I stopped saying this person changed because of me. I'm the reason they changed their life. And I am so conscious in calls or in the updates that I write for them at the end of the week that I make sure they know it's theirs.
Yeah.
For them and for me. Because if they're owning more of their wins, they're realizing that they're the person winning. But also for me, because then if they're not thriving or killing it, I don't take all that on.
Yeah.
I don't take all that ownership. The second part, like, I've been playing around with this idea that it sounds so cocky and arrogant and fucking weird.
Yeah.
And I don't say that as like a projection of anxiety like around it. I just know it's fucking weird.
Okay.
But I really speak to myself in the way that I am that guy.
Yeah.
And I know it's almost cliche and cringe.
Yeah.
But the more I speak that to myself, it helps me so much work on the things I'm not good at. You know, like, I'm not the guy that's going to be a bad communicator. I'm not the guy that's going to give up.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy you're going to see half-assed in something.
Yeah.
I'm not the guy that's going to tell you to do something and not do it myself. Like, that idea of just propping myself up of I am that guy, not in the sense of I'm that guy and you're not, but just elevating myself.
Yeah.
I am him.
Yeah.
It's a weird concept that's just been working so fucking well for me. Like, when I'm running and on the 9th K, if I'm doing a 10K run, I want to give up, I'll just have a little sentence to myself like, I am that guy. I'm not the guy that's going to stop this.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, to answer that, kind of just 2 points. I don't take so much ownership, but also just that little tool for me.
I don't think that's cocky at all. I think it's really cool.
Okay.
And I think it's something that's, I think someone who would call that cocky is someone who's like insecure in themselves.
Yeah.
So that's actually something that I've been doing recently too. It's my new morning routine. I will write down a sentence, like whatever I have on for that day. So if I've got, for example, today I had this podcast, which I was quite nervous about. I wrote down, like, you are a confident speaker. Like, you can do this. You're capable of having powerful conversations and impacting people. That's not cocky. That's not like me being like, you're whatever. It's just installing that belief within. And it doesn't need to be anything crazy. And it's not something that I don't already believe in. I think when it comes to affirmations, sometimes we kind of go, oh, like, you're the hottest girl in the room, and so whatever it is, and you don't actually believe that.
Yeah.
That's when it doesn't work. It needs to be like, I'm showing up, I'm as the person who is capable of impact. I believe that, so I can really embody it. But if I say, oh, I'm the best at podcasts, so I'm going to smash this, it's totally fine, it's not going to do anything. You need to believe it. So I think speaking to yourself in that way is the best thing you can possibly do. Speaking to yourself in a way that you'd speak to your best friend or a little kid. We always hear it, but it is so true. Like, if a kid was really anxious at school or something, you wouldn't be like, oh, fuck off, why are you being anxious?
Yeah.
You'd be like, hey, like, what's going on? Where is this coming from?
Yeah.
You'd be curious. So again, getting that curiosity with yourself and understanding why, and then, hyping yourself up. Like, no one else is going to do it.
Yeah. You killed today.
Thank you.
You've done really well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, really well. I always just preach this concept that the idea of something is always worse than the action of doing it itself.
Yeah.
So the idea of today was so much harder than the actual action of doing it.
Yeah.
Like, this has been like fine. Talking, great shares, great insights.
Yeah.
I say that all the time for people to take away for the big and small things they do. The idea of it is always scarier than the action of doing it itself. So last year, just super quick, I faced my biggest fear, which was heights. It's just been a crippling fear my whole life.
Yeah.
So we went to, I think it was Nusa Penida, and did the 130 meter bungee jump. I was like, fuck this, I just need to do it. Because it was...
That's hardcore, face your fear.
It was.
Yeah.
And there was a few things that got me there. Like, I trust myself so much, and I value so much of doing what I say, that I convince myself that 3, 2, 1 and go. So it doesn't matter how fucking long it takes me to say 3, but the minute I say 3, 2 follows, 1 follows, and then go. And I remember standing there and I was like, breathing, and then I was like 3, and I was like, well, fuck, I've said 3, and I'm not that person that's going to let myself down. 2, 1 and go. So yeah, like fuck, what was the topic we were just on? What the fuck? Where the fuck did that come from? Why did I lead into that?
Doing hard things is the idea of hard things.
The idea of a jump rock facing your fear is terrifying.
Yeah.
But stepping off something, such as a stair, that's not hard to do.
Yeah.
So the idea of it's hard, but the action of it itself is not hard.
Yeah.
Is there anything, topic, or area you want to talk about before we close out the episode?
No, I also just want to take my hat off to you. I think you're really incredible at this and having conversations, and even that simplicity of sharing that story just then, how you mentioned that was like a year ago, and you've shown up as the person you want to be, and you know, you say you've recently been embodying this idea of speaking to yourself in a way that's like making yourself proud, talking yourself up. That was a year ago and you were doing that then. Like, I'm not that guy to not jump off right now. So I think that's a big thing for anyone listening, is just giving yourself credit and being able to reflect and like be like, hey, I've actually achieved a lot. I've been doing a lot for myself. I'm showing up for myself. I think there's a lot of power in that because we are really hard on ourselves a lot of the time. So yeah, incredible. I'm really honoured to have been here today and to be given the opportunity to speak with you as well. So thank you.
So that leads literally into the way I close this out, which was a piece of advice anyway, but into that camera, to my audience, and your audience that's tuning in, what is one piece of advice you want to leave them with before we close off the episode?
My favourite go-to is nothing changes if nothing changes.
That's it.
So good.
I appreciate you guys tuning in so much. If you tuned in on YouTube, we are in Hot Tea Studio in Uluwatu, which is a really great studio. So if you're in Bali, check that out. If you tuned in on Spotify, you don't get to see it, but we appreciate you just as much for tuning in. That's a wrap. I'll see you guys in the next one.
That's it. That was good. Oh my God.